That does remind me that Charlie Carver, every time on set, he would just do this thing where he would go, Ethan! And I made him do it all the time. I was like, what's your character's name? Ethan! I was like, I live.
That's amazing.
I stand a queen.
There he is! Yay!
Yay!
I love it.
Oh yeah, the curls. Oh my god, are we like twins?
A little bit. Hang on, let me take off my headset.
Holy shit. Sorry guys, I just did not know this was gonna happen. Oh my god!
Right?
I'm like touching the screen like it's a mirror.
I know, right? Alright. So, what foolishness abounds tonight?
We're going through the patrons first. As you know, we have a Patreon. It is at patreon.com/BHAD podcast. We want to thank all of our wonderful patrons, and it is always open for those who would like to contribute. One of our perks is you get shout-outs, and helping us with our shout-outs tonight is the lovely Miss Haley Webb.
Adria, Angela Gasparetti, Ariette, BBS, Chaos Magic, Dissidendi, Eric, Discontented Winter, Eric G, Erica Smith, Gigi Kirsten, Goddess Sishat, Guy Obsessions, Jean-Claude, Jess, Joe Nuevo, Kali Apollo, Milky, Mizixi, Origin Fire, Purple Pints, Ryan Rokamp, Sarah G, Miranda, and Tori Marie.
Woo! Thank you very much.
Next,
Haley.
yeah.
That was wonderful.
Like, welcome to the stage. Yeah.
Very snappy.
No problem.
Be sure to donate to our Patreon so we can keep doing fun little stuff like this. Yay! All right. Yay! Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to Beacon Hills After Dark. I, of course, am StickyKeys. To my right, we have involuntary permanent co-host Ethan. Say hi, Ethan.
Hello, everybody. How is everybody?
We are great tonight.
So great.
To his right, we have involuntary permanent engineer Philip. Say hi, Philip.
Hey, everybody.
Short and sweet, very lovely.
Hey, get me out of here, thanks.
Right, exactly. He knows he can't go anywhere, that's why. And to his right is the ever lovely Amanda. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi, everyone.
Yay, she has her voice back. She doesn't sound like a ragged.
I was going to say newly revoiced.
Exactly.
Yeah, finally.
It
I
went
was
on.
sick last time they were doing one of these, and I had no voice for like 4 or 5 days. It was awful.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It
Well, I'm
was.
glad it's back. Yeah, Jesus, welcome.
It was rough, and she came and did like a little cameo. She was like, "Hello, everybody."
It was like so bad.
Yeah. She was like, "I don't think I can do this."
I'm glad you're better.
We can't either. But she just got a brand new niece, so we're very excited for her.
Oh, congrats!
Yay.
Everything's really coming up, Amanda.
I know.
I know.
Very
Yeah, she's like, what, 10 days old now?
Oh.
So, like, brand new baby.
Oh my god! Gotta smell her forehead, it's the best. Baby
Oh my
forehead.
god, she's such a little cuddler. She just wants to cuddle. That's all she wants to do. I'm like,
I'm just like,
Adorbs. And that other voice that you're hearing is the voice of our very special guest. When she's not running around town gathering sacrifices to... I can't quite remember the plot.
bolster her magical prowess.
somebody
Yes.
feed her another plot and let's just like rip on this. Like, something else.
just make up a new one.
these birds that she owns in this small cottage. She lives in a field.
When something about crows and there's a banshee and she kisses Johnny Cage.
Yes, it was that season.
I found out that did happen and that evidently it was a teleportation device of some sort. Maybe.
Okay.
So, yeah. Everyone, it's Haley Webb. She's getting inducted right into our Hall of Messiness. So,
yes.
Welcome, Haley. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are y'all?
We are wonderful. We're so happy to have you. So glad you decided. So, what happened was, all of a sudden, I got this notification that there was going to be a live. Haley Webb was live. And I was like, oh, let me go be messy. So I was like, I got some time.
You and like 100 other people.
Right. Well, no, it started with like 14, 15. So I said, okay, this is my prime time. Let me show up and show out.
Let me just scoot on in here.
Right, let me scoot on in. Like, all right.
People gonna show up. I was like, oh.
And it was so fun. It's always so funny because when celebs go on live, I don't quite know what they see that's different, but I know that there is an extreme delay. And so sometimes there are some things that you'll see, but then also DMs will come in too. And so like when we'll ask a question, it will get answered like way later. And so
I didn't know until it happened. And then my brother was like texting me. He was like, get your shit together. And I was like, listen, dude, I'm trying. I didn't invent this. Talk to Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly.
I think he at least, Facebook now owns it. Whatever. Anyway, there was a massive delay.
Yes. And so I was just kind of typing in messages here and there, and there's just all kind of nonsense happening. And I think he said Bahad podcast, and I was like, BHAD or something like that. And but I was like, yeah, we're a Teen Wolf podcast. And I was like, we would love to interview you. And you're like, oh, slide into my DMs. So I was like, don't mind if I do. But then I had realized that I had like slid in like about a few months earlier. So I was like, oh, she probably won't see it. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's cool. And so then I just kind of put like, hey girl, hey, love the live today. Thanks for doing that. It was really cool. Blah, blah, blah. And then I just went on about my business. And then I got a DM that was like, hey girl, hey. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was so excited. And so I was like, and then from there, I was like, I think we're besties now. So,
I was like, you're in Nebraska, I'm going to walk there now.
Exactly. Oh my God. It was there weren't so much snow. No, but it was totally cool. Totally clicked. And she was like, I would love to do an interview. When's good? And we got it all set up. And I was just so excited. You're so accommodating and lovely. Of course, I was able to ask the server, what questions do you have for Haley? And they brought out the questions. Yeah.
100%.
And of course, right, of course, they're so trifling. I was like, oh yeah, she answered that question. They were like, you asked that? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Everyone deletes their account immediately.
I was like, I just put it on the list. But one thing I did love about it is, they run the gamut, and you're just so open and so accommodating, and I really, really do appreciate that. So thank you again for taking this time and really just, it's been wonderful, and I really look forward to tonight. So let's
me too.
Jump in and get started. Born and raised in VA, on the playground is where you spent most of your days.
Yes.
And then moved across country. When did you move? San Diego.
So I moved when I was 15. Me and my brother Ian. Well, I'm one of 6. My parents got divorced when I was 8. because my dad was moving to California and I wanted to go with him. And I was like, I do not want to stay in Virginia.
Yeah.
Move to California with my dad and stepmom. So yeah, I was like 3 months into my freshman year of high school,
wow.
going from Virginia to fucking San Diego. And I was like, why are everybody's eyebrows bushy? Like mine are plucked within an inch of their life. Like, why is everyone's ponytails like down low? I'm like, you know, 10 things I hate about you. Like, I don't understand. So it was a lot. It was a big
culture
shock. But yeah, I was 15 when all that happened. So
how did you find, I know the transition you said was a lot, but did you find you were able to kind of fit in right away? Were you able to kind of find a good group of friends, or did it kind of take a while?
I was actually, I straddled a sort of a weird line in high school where, like, I wouldn't call myself popular, but, like, I could hang out, I guess, with popular people, but I didn't really want to. I didn't find them very interesting. So I was actually really lucky that I found a sort of small group of friends pretty immediately, and I actually stayed friends with one of them probably until my late 20s.
Oh, wow.
It's not like we had like a falling out, you know, life just kind of happens. But yeah, I was able to do that. And then I graduated high school early, 2 months into my junior year, because I was acting, and I knew that I wanted to do it. So my dad was like, why are you in school? I was like, I don't know. Because my dad was awesome. So yeah, I left high school early and then started doing acting school and was taking the train up from San Diego to LA multiple times a week for auditions. Yeah, so I just needed I just knew what I wanted to do, and luckily was very able to do it, and had the support to do it.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's one thing to kind of be in LA, but it's another to kind of be in San Diego and then be like, Daddy, can I take the train every other week?
Yeah, and everyone was complaining about traffic in LA. Like, I had to come from the east side, and I was like, bitch, I had to take,
like you don't know from traffic.
And go back, and you audition for like 30 seconds, and then you're out of there. And one time I actually got into a car accident. On my way there, on my way to an audition, and I called, and I was like, hey, so I just got into I was like 16, and I got into a car accident, and I'm going to be late. And they were like, that's okay, we'll hold the session open for you. And I was like, thanks. An hour later, I show up, and they're like, oh, are you the girl with the car accident? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, session's closed. I'm so sorry. And I was like, I don't think you're sorry at all, actually.
Like, I'll do it right now.
Kept the session open.
And you will watch.
So I drove up for nothing, essentially, and got into a car accident.
Oh.
And
LA be like that.
LA be like that. Hard knock life, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So at this time, though, you have, like, your black belt in Taekwondo, so...
I do.
Why don't you throw down?
So I'm badass, I'm, like, ripped. And then, you know, puberty happens, and I'm like, what is all this softness? I'm like, my muscles! Yeah, I got my brother started Taekwondo before I did, but I got my black belt before he did.
Oh, wow.
And I was able to test him for his black belt, which I've never held that much power in my life. Yes. And I highly recommend it.
Yes.
So yeah, I have my black belt, which has actually come in handy doing stunts and stuff.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, because I've done a lot of different types of stunts as well. And like, you know, in Teen Wolf, when I come down from the when I crashed through the ceiling, I was like on a wire, you know, on like a crane, and they just kind of like, they were like, are you sure you're okay? And I was like, yes, the higher the better.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, they needed it to look sort of like elegant. So I was lucky that I had, you know, I was also a dancer, so I had kind of an athletic background, and was able to do shit, no problem. Where I think it takes some more finagling in order for things to sort of like have a finesse to them. Not to say that I'm the most like, I'm like so graceful.
I want to say, but, yeah, like do that humble brag. I love it. Be like, I don't know you guys.
It helps it, yeah. When they need me to do, where it has to be sort of like my face doing something.
That was one of the things that I did love about Jennifer. Especially, there are like two scenes in particular. There was one where you kind of run up to Darach and like jump on him and he catches you. And I was just like, I love it.
I love that. And I love that people made like a gif of it. And I was just like, my life is complete.
I love it. I have it. I was trying to show a friend because she was like, she just barely peruses Teen Wolf, and she was like, which one is Jennifer? And I was like, the one with the walking sticks. And she was just like,
oh
And she was just like, "Oh, you mean the one with the legs who did the jumpy thing?" I was like, "Yeah," and the one who walked away. And she was like, "Yes." And those are the two references.
Listen, I'm world famous. Don't at me.
The one who jumped.
That's how I'm going to be known for the rest of my life.
Hey,
the one with the legs, which I'm
go.
super into.
There have been worse things. I love it.
Exactly.
How did you even find out about the role of Teen Wolf, of Jennifer?
So, I'm not sure how much people really know, and I don't want to sound like condescending, but like I don't know how much people know about like the process of how auditioning and stuff works. So I had like just to kind of give a basic overview. I had an agent and a manager, still do, and they are the ones who kind of check out all of the breakdowns and see what you're right for, and then basically apply you for the job. And then casting looks at your, headshot and resume and everything and decides whether they want to kind of see you or not. So one day, I had actually just quit my side job. And
what was your side job?
I was a hostess.
Oh, very nice. Hostess.
Yeah, I was a hostess at a really great place in LA, but it was a place where like a lot of people that I really want to work with professionally come in. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point I was like, I just can't do this. Like I had to get a job, and so I did. And then I just kind of couldn't do it.
Is that a tough... How does that work? Because I think I understand that idea of like, I want to work with you so I can't serve you, but also I need to pay my bills. So
it was a very strange experience because it was like everybody. And I mean like everybody was coming in. And so there's the aspect of like, I mean, no shame, we've all been here. And like, I hadn't had to have a job before that, like a side job for a long time. And I luckily haven't had to have them since. Mm-hmm. But it's certainly humbling, and you know that it's part of the job. But it honestly was really hard. It was really hard after a while where, you're still auditioning for things and, getting close. I got close to like a lot of shit that didn't happen. So then to have that disappointment and that, sort of constant rejection, and then to go in and be like, oh, I just, I just tested for a show that you're on, and you're at your like congratulatory dinner. Here's a menu. I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
Right. Like I'm going to go die now.
So after a while, it was like, I had side jobs before that when I first started. I worked at a grocery store as like a bagger and shit. And I just couldn't kind of take it. I was like, no, I want to live my dream. I got to get the fuck out of here. And it had kind of built up to the point where I was like, I think I'm just going to quit. And so I quit. And right after that, I got the audition for Teen Wolf. And I sat down in the audition room next to a girl who was in The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck, she's like, has this big job. People know her. I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. And the audition scene was the birds, where I had to like duck the birds. And I was like, so I asked Wendy, the casting director, which you kind of just have to do what they say. It's like, if it's in there, you kind of just got to do it. And so I was like, Wendy, look, do you really want me ducking fake birds? Like, in this small room in Santa Monica, like, do you really want to see that? And she was like, unfortunately, yes. And I was like, okay, all right, no problem. I'm just a clown. It's fine. I'll do whatever you want. So I did that, and then didn't hear anything for 3 weeks. So I just kind of wrote it off, and I was like, okay, just another audition. And then it was right before my birthday, and actually I had another side job lined up to interview for, because I hadn't booked anything in that time. And my agent called me and she was like, we have the best birthday present for you. You have like 9 episodes on Teen Wolf. And I was like, ah! So I made like a celebratory like lip sync video, and like,
oh my gosh,
I was eating like rice, and we couldn't afford like chicken at the time. So I was just like, yes, we can buy chicken.
Do you remember the song?
So yeah, it came at the best time for me. And yeah, I'm just, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. And the scene, the audition scene was the birds, where I had to like duck the birds. And I was like, so I asked Wendy, the casting director, which you kind of just have to do what they say. It's like, if it's in there, you kind of just got to do it. And so I went in, and lucky. I mean, usually you have to go through more of a process. And I asked Jeff Davis, I was like, I only auditioned once, like, are you... And then I didn't hear anything for 3 weeks, and he was like, no, you were the best fit for the role. And I knew what I wanted, and you kind of gave it to me, so yeah.
From the bird scene? Why that scene?
I was like, can I give you a Shakespeare soliloquy, though?
Right. But I feel like if you can nail that scene with any type of sincerity, I mean, what else? Yeah. What else do you need? You can literally do any other
and
thing.
I think sometimes that's the test is like, and I had worked with green screen before. I had like, you know, I know that it's awkward and I know that kind of landscape pretty well. So, you know, and you know it's part of your job to do that. So yeah, I don't know what the hell he saw, but I guess he saw what he wanted, and here we are.
You said that you did a...
Listen, I can duck a fake bird like nobody's fucking business.
Right, there you go. You said that you did a lip sync vid. Do you remember the song?
I do. It was Florence and the Machine.
Nice.
Was it The Dog Days Are Over?
Love
that'd
song.
be a good one.
What a banger.
Yeah. It's on my Vimeo. The video is like up, but I just got the news, and I had my husband, he had just bought like a red camera, like a really nice camera. I was like, turn it on, I'm doing this video, and then we're going to go get a beer. And that's exactly what we did.
That is so awesome. That has to be just like up for real when you get that.
It was. And I didn't know. I hadn't really heard of the show before that. And I was like, oh, there's a show called Teen Wolf. Like, is it the Michael J. Fox one?
Right.
I was just a babe in the woods, unknowing. So I looked it up and I did all the research I possibly could. And then I watched the first 2 seasons before I filmed. Because I booked it right before the holidays. So I think I started shooting early December and then into January of the next year. But yeah, it was cool. And I saw that like, I was like, oh, this is a pretty popular show. Like, people like this show. Like, that's fun. And I started working out immediately because I knew I was going to be Darach's love interest. I was like, oh, fuck. God damn it.
Right.
I was like,
because he was peak beefiness then, right?
Peak beefiness. Like, I saw, he did a lot of push-ups, a lot of sit-ups. I saw him. They had like a gym on set as well, I think.
That's right.
I was like, okay, fine, I'll try.
We had a friend named Micah who had a set visit, and he interviewed Charlie, or was it Max? One of the Carvers, and then
one of the Carvers.
And he was like, their regimen is just wild, and I was just like, I can't do it.
I was like, I don't have to do that.
Right.
I was like, I'm feeling pretty good.
So I'm doing just fine. That is crazy. So you get on set. And what was the atmosphere like? Did you find it kind of like welcoming? Did you find it intimidating at all? What was kind of your feeling? Yeah, I've done a lot of guest spots, or like, you know, most of what I've done in TV has been guest spots, and it's always intimidating because you are a guest. It's like they have their established rhythm, they have their established, you know, vernacular, they have their relationships, and then you're coming in and you're just like, I hope I don't fuck this up. Like, I really hope that this is okay and that you guys like what I do. So I was intimidated, but the atmosphere was immediately welcoming. And everybody, it was so relaxed. And everybody was so nice. It's still to this day, like, just like my favorite filming experience. 'Cause it was, I was there long enough to be able to bond with a lot of the people there. And that has created some like lasting friendships. And it's just so cool to see how everyone is like doing in their careers, and like, oh fuck, you have a show and you have a show and you're working with Gary Oldman, and like, and like texting people and being like, oh my god, I love you, like this is so great, because you just know that they're, you know, good people. So it's nice to see that. So yeah, they were very welcoming from the start, where I almost didn't trust it. I was like, let me just...
Too nice.
What are you selling?
Exactly.
You know? Like, where's the Mary Kay?
So yeah, they were great.
Did you get any kind of backstory in terms of your relationship with Callie?
I did not. I'm trying to remember. I really think I just kind of got it when I read the script.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was told I was the Darach. And then I think it's a few episodes after that is when I sort of reveal why I am the way that I am, and that it was her. So no, I didn't get a ton of backstory, so I had to kind of fill in a lot.
I think it was, and it's so funny because this is one of those times when it does kind of get muddled with fanon, where I'm like, did this happen in fanfic or did this happen on the show? And my brain is Swiss cheese when it comes to this in general. I
was just rewatching it right now, and every time I rewatch it, I somehow miss it, and I'm like, did I make this up in my head, or did this actually happen on screen?
Well, we know
beauty of art.
Jennifer was Julia Baccari.
Mm-hmm.
Julia Baccari turned into Jennifer Blake.
Yeah,
I don't know why the
mnemonic. Yeah, she did the JB.
She did the JB, which always cracks me up because at this point, wouldn't the Alpha Pack have been like, wait a minute, brunette, JB?
Well, they didn't say anything, so maybe she counted on that. Yeah,
well,
she was like,
did they think because she was Callie's emissary,
mm-hmm.
and so they thought that she killed her. And then I think that her and Callie were boo-bangs. And that's where,
that's
like,
I would love that.
Jennifer, Callie. And so
which would be incredible. And I think there's enough there that you can definitely extrapolate that from. I don't think it says anything, and I wasn't told anything. Like, this is exactly what's happened.
Exactly.
But, and so when I first heard that, like, theory, I was like, oh, hell yes. And I think, actually, Felicia and I heard it together, and we were just like, oh my god! Like, because that makes it so much more, hurtful. Well, especially,
yes, to have that, like, why is she doing so? Like, why is she being so extra? Like, why? Yeah,
because I look like bacon. Like, hello,
because she has a broken
this happens.
And I really like that aspect of it. And see, those are fun things that I feel like, you don't really have the time to do it on the show, but it's nice to be able to kind of extend that through fan nonsense. Fanon. There we go. Let's see. What was kind of...
That comes up every February. I'm sorry, every February that comes up.
Really?
Well, for February.
Oh, February! Oh my god, that's right!
And we're always and it always comes up like, did we make this up or did this happen?
And I'm like, you'll never know. We're just magicians over here. We're not going to tell you our tricks. We're not going to tell you how we do them.
Well, it's so funny because, like, especially in Teen Wolf, the fans are like, we have scraps, but we will hang on to them with our fingernails.
Respect.
Not test up. Exactly. So I'm like, all right. Yeah, I'll get it.
I know, and I think that's so great. Like, and I personally love when things are, like, semi-ambiguous, so you can kind of fill in what you like. And I know that a lot of people create like that, and knowing, like, okay, I'm not going to fill this in, so I want to let the audience fill this in for themselves. So I love that shit like that gets sort of picked out. So it's kind of more fun to be like, I don't know for certain, but, like, you can kind of make it whatever the hell you want.
Gives fans more options to fill in how they see it or how they would like it to have happened.
Yeah, exactly. You have the power.
I know, right? I got power. So, I know you mentioned that the information for Jen's evil turn came a little bit later. What was the original kind of elevator pitch that you got for Jennifer herself? What was kind of the story, the background that they gave you on her?
I think actually the breakdown was like, so yeah, when you get like a breakdown of a character, usually it's like, here's her age, she's like sassy but aggressive, but whatever. And it's always like horribly like misogynistic and terrible. Right. But it's like, okay, cool. So I'll be like, cool. I'll be angry, but I won't be too angry, so the guy doesn't feel uncomfortable. But I'll be sweet, but I'll, and I'm dropping the kids off at soccer practice. It's a whole But I think with her, the original sort of character breakdown was just like, like a new teacher at Beacon Hills High. So I didn't have like anything to kind of go off of. So when I showed up, you know, I obviously met Jeff, and he didn't tell me anything, didn't tell me much, but you know, you can read the script, and I can, as an actor, extrapolate, you know, like, oh, okay, she seems sweet, she seems new. And again, I had watched the first 2 seasons, so I'm like, okay, this is like a new, nice character, so I kind of have to... Actually, you know what? Jeff Davis gave me a reference for a movie that is kind of escaping me the name of right now, but he's like, she's kind of like this character, and I watched the movie. Ooh. And it was that very classic sort of 80s female lead where it's like she's taken on all these adventures, and she's sort of like bright-eyed about it, but she discovers that she can actually like hang and like, you know. So he kind of gave me that.
Was it Legally Blonde?
Oh my god, I wish. Romancing the Stone, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't given a ton of, and I wasn't given like backstory at all on her. So I actually, and I use music a lot when I work, so I made like a playlist immediately. But yeah, I would listen to a lot of music, and I really had to fill in a lot myself, which you kind of do a lot as an actor.
I think if you're good, you do.
I plead the fifth on this.
I was like, you can let me say that. I'll say that. You can let me say that.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to. I respected the show. I respected its the love for the show, and so I wanted to be able to like, okay, what would Darach, the character, sort of be attracted to? I mean, and obviously I was directed on set, you know, but yeah, I just kind of filled in a lot myself, and then I was like, I feel like I'm too nice. Maybe I'm the villain. Oh. And so then it was sort of like confirmed, but I didn't know how it was confirmed, and I didn't know why it was the way that it was until later, until a little over, I think, halfway through.
It was so funny going. So I, like I said, I watched it the first time. I did a binge watch. And so I was 100% like, I was like, okay, I love Jennifer, but she's too nice. So she's going to be a villain, but maybe they're going to twist it and be like, you think she's a villain, but she's going to be super nice. And then I think you know what? And I actually know 100% that I did this. I said they have her with Darach, and I can't stand Darach, so she's probably going to be nice to be with him.
Also, the first person that I've heard, like, directly that doesn't like Darach, is like, I love Darach. Exactly. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I was so resentful because I was actually a late joiner on this podcast. So I used to listen to this podcast back when it was actually airing, and I was like, God, I wish she didn't think this way half the time. But it was so good, so I kept listening. And I was just like, and then she finally switched sides, and I was like, yes, we won.
Yeah, and now I'm all like, protect Darach at all costs. Yes. But back then I was just like, I can't do it.
It's funny because I had actually worked with Hecklin on something years before, almost like 4 or 5 years before that. We had tested for, I think, a movie where we played like love interests. And then when I watched the show, I was like, oh fuck, it's him. So it was fun to kind of reconnect in that way, like in an industry that you don't really work with a lot of the same people, but it is a small world as well. So it was cool to like click with him again. Yeah, it was great. Fun. It was really great.
So, and so, yeah, the reactions to that reveal were just all over the board.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to stay off the internet.
Oh, yeah. It was wild. Because then you either had people that were like, because then first you had the hardcore shippers that were like, Jennifer to the end, I don't care what y'all say, it didn't happen. She is fine. It is a dream. Y'all quit hating. I love that. You know, it was just like, okay. And then you had
their own, man. All right.
Yeah. Then you had the ones that were like, I don't even know, just like, well, that loved that she went bad, and they're like, Jennifer's dope. And then the ones that were like, oh no, she was so sweet.
Yeah. I love those ones because they're so like, because I'll see some of it and I love seeing those because they just seem like they're in the back being like, oh my god.
So pure. I know.
Just low-key supportive.
Yeah, just like we got bamboozled. And you're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry.
We still stand a queen.
Yeah, exactly. We stand a bacon queen.
Right, exactly. I got the Darach. I love watching just the different reactions to that reveal. So, let's see, so when that change happened, did you actually, when you were like, okay, I get to be bad now, was that a fun turn for you? Do you enjoy kind of playing the villain?
I do. I really enjoy playing a villain because, again, I'll tell you something. They don't write women well, typically. And unfortunately, a lot of the sort of meatier parts that you will get tend to be villains, where it's like they are a little bit more three-dimensional. You give them a pain, as opposed to just being in a scene to serve, a male character, being like, but why are you doing this? And oh my god, and I'm so sad about this, but I'm not going to be angry. I actually have a theory about Rachel McAdams in Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
There's a scene where you can tell she's angry, but I think as an actor, I'm like, oh, and as like a female, which I've gotten so many times, even in auditions, like, okay, but don't be that angry. And I'm like, it literally says on the page, she's angry. But they don't like seeing it from a woman. So
Exactly.
It's like they're like, too aggressive. And it's like, I actually had one that casting director be like, have you ever been in love? I'm like, bitch, I've been with the same man for like 11 years. Yes. And you fight like this. Like, it's this, we're real people. So with a villain, you're able to get that kind of like thing. So when I got the turn, or when it was sort of like confirmed to me, it was like, oh, fucking yes. Like, I get to delve into, because villains think that they are the heroes of their story. Mm-hmm. And you do have to dig into their behavior, which, can tend to be a little bit more complicated, which is like so fun as an actor. And you have to, even if you don't agree with it, justify it or understand why it's happening. So then you go through your acting process of justifying it. And
at least like empathizing, figuring out a way to empathize with it.
Yeah, that's a better word. So yeah, it was great. And then when I was sort of told, a little bit about the backstory, and then I got the monologue for The Overlooked, like at 10 p.m. And then I had to do it in the elevator at like 4 a.m. And I was like, let's do this. And TV hours, like, they're long.
Yeah.
You're there like 16 hours a day. And that's like the last scene, and then it's on your face, and you're like, I am so tired. And then it's like on your face, and I'm just like, do not fuck this up.
Right.
Especially as a guest star, because you're just like, I don't want to be the reason nobody can go home right now. So yeah, I was thrilled, and it was really interesting because there were so many different things that I had to understand about why she was doing what she was doing, especially things that I had already done unknowingly as an actor. Like, so she was building this kind of thing, and she was doing this because of this trauma that she had like suffered from Kali and this betrayal. So it was fun. It was fun to dig into that, because I personally, as an actor, I can access my anger pretty easily. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but I'm able to sort of access it, and I mean, I think that's why I get sort of cast as villains sometimes. But
how is that?
Which is just funny as like a thing. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. How is that to? So. You kind of get this whoop-de-doo where you're like, okay, you're the villain now. And then you do have to kind of go back and relive those moments where you're like, okay, everything you know is now turned on its head. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you kind of get that call back? How do you know what to call back and what to kind of like, what's going to be relevant kind of moving forward in terms of how I do this character now.
It kind of sucks, in a way. I mean, TV is also so different than film, and I had done either sort of singular episodes of TV or maybe a couple, or movies. Like, I had done film mostly at that point. So I know the character. Hi!
Hi, Beatrix.
She's like, please tell me your answer.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. I'm like, bitch, this is my time. She's gone. But what was the question? What was I saying?
I know. Right?
So I've done film. So
Callback.
you know the kind of like arc, and given my training, I did, character study, and like I approach my work similarly, no matter what the fuck it is. Like, I respect everything that I do, and I want to bring to it everything that I possibly can. So not having that, it was the first time in a long form thing that I was doing where I didn't have an end. I didn't know where I was going. And then go back and see, and at a certain point, you just have to go, it's just out of my hands. Either like the episodes are starting to air, or it's like I'm just not in control. And it's like that on anything you do. I mean, as an actor, it depends on the director, how much input you have. And a lot of times you don't have input. It just depends on how collaborative they are. But on this one, it was unique in that I didn't know even where I was going. So I had to go with the information that I had, in addition to the training as an actor that I had. And the experience of reading scripts and breaking down character and breaking down material of like, okay, this is kind of what I think is going on, and I'm just going to do the best that I can. So then at a certain point where you're like, oh, fuck, I did. Oh, fuck. Okay. Well, hopefully that comes off. At a certain point, it's like, it's just kind of out of your hands.
So would you have preferred to know beforehand? And how do you think that would, if that would have influenced your character and the acting choices that you made?
I will say I understand why Jeff didn't tell me, because not all actors are the same.
Yes.
So I really understand the choice. I don't think I would have done much before the kind of reveal as the Jennifer character. Because
the scenes weren't framed that way. Like the scenes were framed a certain way.
Right.
And so like, and any sort of acting choices from there, they can sort of be like dialed down, right? Like,
yeah, and some actors have a tough time anticipating. Like, they kind of know what's going to happen, so they'll then indicate more and be a little bit more external, as opposed to like having it a real sort of experience. And it's tricky where like some actors just can't kind of do that, so you have to limit, or some people and directors choose to limit the information they know, so that they don't kind of indicate what's happening. But I mean, honestly, like, I am a trained actor, so I have the tools in which to not indicate that kind of thing. So I don't think it would have changed much had I known. And again, I kind of suspected, but it was sort of like going in the dark. I'm like bird boxing my way through people. But yeah, no, I think I have enough sort of faith in myself, and it's not to say Jeff didn't have faith in me, but I have enough faith in my process that I would have been able to kind of do both. And sometimes you kind of, it's like, well, maybe I could have done more. Maybe I could have slipped something in that you looked back on and you rewatched an episode and you're like, oh, that tricky bitch. But again, I tried to do that a little bit. I didn't know I was going to be a Darach with like, an awesome fucking outfit. Like, I didn't know I was going to do that. But I was like, I'll probably turn at some point. So I kind of have to give them that doe-eyed thing, because some people will be like, oh, she's too sweet. And some people will be like, that bitch is too sweet. Right. So, I mean, not everyone's going to react the same. So yeah, I don't think I would have really done anything differently, but it was challenging.
I will say that I think that came out very well, especially in terms of the delivery and the way that it all kind of seamlessly fit together. I think that is one of the villains that had a very good run that didn't really kind of overstay the welcome, that, came in, did what they needed to do, and then, kicked rocks, and, blood got spattered on the Nevaton, and, Peter did his thing, had his great line, and it was just like, okay, we're good.
Derek, I was watching this and I was just like, why do I love this? Why do I love this the whole time? I'm like, I'm not supposed to love this. You're ruining it, and I still loved it. There's two kinds of villains that I look at. There's the villain that you hate seeing on screen and you want to shove out of it. Mm-hmm. And then there was you, where I was like, give me more, give me everything.
Thank you.
And I was just like, when I heard this story that you'd had a little bit of a late reveal as far as, the full course of your character, I was like, if this is what we got, what could we have gotten if she'd known earlier?
Yes! I think, first of all, thank you so much. And also, what I really wanted to bring to it, like, I didn't, I'm not going on to Teen Wolf being like, this is a show about
werewolves.
You gotta edit that out.
I know, right? I got you.
I'm sorry, the connection's bad.
I got you.
Fuck. Where's the cat?
Edit point.
Like, I didn't condescend to, like, the show and be like, oh, it's just this show on MTV about werewolves and whatever. Like, I got that it had more, and I didn't want to come into it. And also, I don't want to play characters that are two-dimensional. I don't think it's fun to just be like, I'm just bad. Like, that sucks. Like, give me more. So I did a lot of work, quite frankly, to sort of fill in a lot and work from a place of empathy and true feeling in myself so that I could give the character more. So that's actually a really great and sweet compliment to get, because I worked hard. I feel weird saying that because I don't like being like, me.
No,
but
hey, give credit where
I worked
credit
to give it
is
more
due,
so that you did feel that thing. Because I also felt like I almost thought there was like Jennifer Blake was the form, Julia Baccari like had before. And she got like her life stolen from her. So it's like she had this thing, and I do think she had real feelings for Darach, and that is how that was my choice, and it was sort of like verified by Jeff. But it wouldn't have been interesting if I was just like, I'm just bad, or like, I don't really care about this guy. It's so much more interesting to be like, I'm fucked up from this thing and I'm doing all these terrible things, but I still love you. Like, isn't that fucked? So it's like, I love that you had that feeling of like, but why do I love this? And I'm like, cool. Then something, bringing that extra layer does sort of like penetrate, and it can be confusing. And then you have to kind of figure out like, do I still feel sorry for this woman? Did she do like the right thing? Why did she do it this way? Like, so I wanted to bring that into it. Like, I think she really, we had to do reshoots. Sorry, I also feel like I'm rambling. So like,
no, keep going, please.
Okay. So we did reshoots of the finale scene, or of the finale. It's the part where I stand up and then I turn back around and I like hit Darach a few times. And then there's like a close on my face, and I just say, I like look at him, and then I just say his name. And then I kind of like am out of I don't know. It's like right before we have that fight, after I've turned back from the Darach, after I've yelled at Gideon Emery to like look at me. And I kind of snap back out of it, and then like
yes.
So that was a reshoot like months later, and my hair was different. I was like, "How are you guys going to do this?" But we were the director at the time. Like, we were all sort of figuring out like on this, like, what is this moment? What would she say to him in this moment if they have, because she feels like he betrayed her. Mm-hmm. By not taking him out, and she's like, what the fuck, you strung me along, I thought you were going to do this thing for me. And so there was a betrayal that I think she felt, and I just wanted, they were like, what do you think she would say?
Very mad at him for that. I was so on his side by that point. I was like, come on, you have one choice.
And again, I think that is more interesting than just, not having that investment. Like, I wanted her to have these investments, so that it's harder, which is more dramatic, So they were like, what do you think she would say? And I was like, I don't know. And I was on the spot because we were filming, and I was like, I honestly think she would just say his name, because I think there was so much lost. There was so much potential, and it wasn't like ships passing in the night. Like,
right.
Given her form and everything, they couldn't have really had that relationship.
Exactly.
But if she was just Jennifer Blake or just Julia Baccari, it probably could have happened. And so it's like this twisted thing of what could have been that got robbed from her, I think. And so there is also this betrayal, and now she's sort of too far gone to, come back from it. Well, I think and then the Mountain Ash circle is like penetrated, and then I die. Anyway. Yeah.
So actually, I want to kind of segue that into the finale.
Yeah.
How did that come about? And if you could explain what happened there, that would be great.
You're asking a lot. I'm like, how much time do you have?
Hey, we're gonna until we figure it out, because I still have questions.
I think it's funny. Once we got to the finale of season 3A, we all really fell in love, and not to like toot my own horn, but I really clicked with everyone, and it felt like such a natural fit. And it was like, God damn it, we don't want to part ways, and it's like we have to because of the story. But and Jeff and I even talked about like ways that we could keep me around. But I was like, but you can't keep Jennifer around. You just and he knew, obviously.
You for that. I will interject quickly. I know that's a very hard decision to make. But bless you for that. Jennifer had the perfect little capsule of time. And that was wonderful. There were some other villains that kind of, in my opinion, you don't have to agree, but that, in my opinion, overstayed a welcome. And I'm like, why are you still alive?
Again, I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
And I didn't care. I was looking for all the different ways of how it could have happened between those two periods of time, where I was like, she can come back.
Yes!
From the dead. As a tree or something.
Oh man, we came up with everything.
Now maybe a tree, but
wasn't there like a twin sister thing that was floated?
There was a twin sister thing that was floating, and I was just like, yeah. And actually, I was like, oh great, so then I can actually be like Jennifer Blake, and then we can kind of continue this thing, and then we can have Darach have the sort of
can't do that to
happy
Darach.
ending. But he is very triggering. I just go to kiss him, and he's just like, I don't.
Exactly. Well, then
like, what are you doing with
couples
your
therapy?
Yeah, exactly. Turn to stone. My goodness.
Yeah, and I didn't have any sort of, not that I really had the power to do it, but I didn't want I was very sad to go, but I'm more happy. I would much rather it be for the story than like my ego to kind of keep me around.
Well, that's what Olive Garden is for. Yeah.
A line I did not expect to hear tonight. So I'm very proud of you.
Okay, so yes, season 6.
So there. So there were these, all these sort of like theories, and I had kept in touch with, everybody from the show. And so they were kind of, I think Jeff was like looking for a way to kind of bring me back in some capacity. And then the opportunity arose with the finale. And I don't think I got the script until maybe the night, a couple days before. So I wasn't sure what I was going to be doing. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll just be mean again.
The greatest fear.
Yeah, which I think is valid. And again, it's sort of like a figment of his imagination. So then as the actor, you're like, okay, I got to kind of lean into this as much as I can. Because you also kind of want the sense from the audience, like, he's a little too, what is happening?
Right, exactly.
I already kind of know it before, but I wanted to at least give that. Sort of like when I did Final Destination, I was like, I kind of have to be loathsome because people watch these movies wanting people to die. So like, hopefully, I think as an actor, are at least aware of your place in a story. And so I was aware when the finale episode, I was like, oh, okay, I need to really, which was hilarious. Hilarious because, like, you know, Hecklin and I, like, are friends, so it was just funny to have him, like, come out, like, blindfolded.
That
and
was
just be like,
so funny.
And to have to, like, take his hand and and he's such a sweet man that I'm like, I'm so sorry that I have to do this. But it was
so
hilarious. I'm like, you can only go so far.
They had
like, I can't actually take his hand. Like, it's MTV. They're gonna cut things. So I can really lead into going as far as I want because it has to get sort of, like, cut off. So in terms of, like, story, I think Greatest Fear, I think that makes sense because I think there is this sense of this went horribly awry. This could have been something. And then I got, you know, just bamboozled by, you know, something. So I don't know. The relationship is so interesting to me and so cool. I just loved it. I loved playing the character. I loved that character. I still love the character. Yeah.
It's good
cool.
times.
It's great, yeah.
I remember I was sitting there watching, I had like a glass of wine, and I was just like, she is just going in. And I was like, I'm loving this, but I don't understand what's happening. And I was like,
me either. I was like, I got hired to do a job. Yeah.
But I was like, hey, we're here. We're at the end. Styles lost his pinky toe.
Which I didn't know until I watched the episode. We all watched it together, and I was like, what is going on?
That's fantastic.
So yeah, I can't give you any more answers than that because I just don't know.
But it was a good time. All right, so fave scenes. We got special requests for one each with Dylan. Fave scene with Dylan. Fave scene with Hecklin. Fave scene with Posey.
So, first of all, I will say they are all such lovely people. Mm-hmm. It's unfair. I think my favorite scene with Dylan. It's hard, man. Like, I loved my whole time working with him so much, and we clicked immediately. We have this sort of like, I don't know, we have this sort of like understanding. My favorite scene is the first scene with the birds, where he kind of comes over and he like picks the feather out of my hair, because I wasn't totally sure he was going to do that. Like, I didn't know he was going to do that. And so immediately, as sort of like an improvisational actor myself, I was like, oh, I like this guy. I was like, oh, okay, you're in it. We're in it. We're in this together. We're in like a world, you know, kind of together. And so when he kind of came over and just delicately kind of picks the feather out and gives it kind of like, is that okay? Anyway, I just did it. It was so charming, obviously, and lovely. And I was like, oh, fuck, I like this guy. I was like, I really like this guy.
That's actually, that leads me into something I was actually going to ask you about is, I was going to ask you if you had any kind of improv background or training, and then if there was improv on set, and is that something that you respond to?
Yes, 100%. My technique is improv based, not improv in the sense of like groundlings or
name a location.
Second City. Yeah, exactly. Yes, and
right.
I'm a clown in real life, but yeah, it's all improvisational, and I always break down dialogue in my own way first, so that I actually know what I'm saying. So I'm not just, hopefully, not just reciting words and trying to make them sound natural. But yeah, there was, as a guest star, again, it's like, you kind of know your place. Like, there's only so much expansion you can have, and you don't want to ruffle any feathers, and you don't want them to be like, you're only in this episode. Can you just relax so that we can go to lunch? You know what I mean? You have to kind of take that shit into consideration. But if something happens on set, you know, and again, it was a lot with Dylan, where like there was, you know, these moments that were genuine and sparked. Like, I didn't know he was going to cry in when I'm like mistletoe, and then Posey, you know, throws the mistletoe. And I looked at Dylan's face, and I was like, fuck. And I felt so bad because I was like, I have hurt this child.
Right.
I have hurt this person, and he just want to know where his dad is, and like, I have him, but I can't tell you that, and it hurts me, you know. And it's like that adds something, as opposed to me just being like, well, I'm in a scene right now, and like, why are you crying? You are crying, little boy. That. Like, it was such. There was just such our techniques just kind of clicked. So yeah, there was a lot of improv. There was more improv with, you know, the main cast. But if there was something kind of said, and I can't remember anything in particular, at least that was kept. Maybe there is. I'll think on it. But I will respond. Like, I'm not here to just like recite some words. Like, I want to create something. Yeah. So yeah, and I was able to do that with him, and it was really awesome. Very good. Really, really awesome.
How about with Hecklin and then with Posey?
Hecklin, my favorite scene with Hecklin was, again, the elevator scene, the elevator monologue. Because, I mean, again, too, it's hard to pick. It really is genuinely hard to pick. But we were so tired, and we had done so much physical shit already, and it was 4 a.m, and they had to, you know, setting up, it just takes a long time, and you wait more than you actually act. But he was so... At that point, I had sort of settled in a little bit more, and people were... I didn't feel like, I'm just a guest here. But he was so encouraging. And, like, when it had to be on my face and I was nervous, you know, I just kind of looked at him, and he could kind of sense that I was a little bit nervous. And he just gave me the sweetest, like the sweetest head nod. Like, you're doing good, kid. And I was like, thanks, Dad. Right. But he was just so encouraging, and it's so rare to work with actors who are that encouraging. Not self-serving. And you know, encouraging of what you're doing, not just about them. So that was my favorite scene with him. And then, I don't know, it's also really hard to pick a favorite Posey scene, because that kid is just such a ball of energy. And he's always like, what? I loved the first scene with him where I take him out in the hallway, and I'm just like, you know, just make sure that you like get your homework done or whatever. And he's like, I hope it won't be ephemeral. And I was like, this bitch. And he looks so cute. I was like, fuck you, man. But yeah, that was my first one, because I got such a sense of who he is as a person and how he was sort of playing the role. And again, also so encouraging and sweet. So that was probably my favorite. I didn't like it when we had to be like adversarial on the show. I was like, but I really like you guys.
Well, that scene with all three of you in the elevator, and then Styles with the bat, is just iconic. I am shocked, seriously, that they actually got a take where we didn't crack the fuck up.
Yeah, we've seen all the gift sets from the outtakes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. They were like, Haley, and I was like, I have to be a professional. I have to do my fucking job
at that time.
And actually, still in the final one, where I kind of leaned my head back, and I'm just like, that is me trying so hard not to laugh. Because every time I look back, and he was just like, oh my God. And then Posey was just like, I couldn't hang. So I couldn't serious. Do it. Yeah, that was a great scene. Because I loved the staging of it. I loved the silence. Like, yeah, that was great.
That is awesome. Oh, Jennifer's wardrobe.
My favorite. Right. I think someone just bought my Darach outfit. Which was actually, like, tailored to my body. So I was like, good luck. Right. I mean, I can't fit into it anymore, but, like, maybe you can.
That is
but
crazy.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it from the conception, and they showed me, and then, yeah, I could, like, they had to, they had to measure my, like, elbows and knees to make sure that I could, like, move in it. The thing that sucked, though, were the contacts, because I actually wear contacts, and they were not prescription, so I couldn't actually see well while they were in, and the heels were like...
So you really were bird boxing.
2 inches wide, yeah. So every time they're like, okay, can you run up to this? I'm like, you want to try it first?
Right,
like, exactly. If you do it first, then I will do it.
I'm like, can I have my hands out in front of me?
Yeah, I was like, thanks. So yeah, it was tough, but I loved the outfit. I actually wish I had gotten to wear it more.
That is awesome. All right. Oh, wait. So we have one more question. So I forgot that this scene happened at all.
Oh my god.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, and I will never forget.
I know. So, kissing Johnny Cage.
Literally bucket list.
And then transporting to another world. What happened here?
When I read that in the scene, I like put down my script and was just like, yeah!
She's like, I have arrived!
And like his wife, who's lovely and on the show.
Yes.
Was there that day, and like, it's not like weird. But I was so happy that I got to do it. Lyndon, again, fucking lovely. Like, so damn lovely. And we just, especially with like, when, you know, I kiss him as like a person and then I kiss him as the Darach, and they kept putting water in my mouth, and I was like, I'm drooling enough as is, you don't. They actually had to CGI out a lot of the drool.
Oh my.
So gross.
That's great.
Yeah, no, life-changing, highly recommend. You know, you gotta ask him and his wife beforehand, but I was given permission, and so we did, and it was great.
I've gotten to meet him at HowlerCon a few times, and so he's always been very sweet.
Oh my god, the best. Again, so encouraging and like supportive and fucking lovely.
You talked a little bit about Final Destination. You were in the fourth one, right?
I was, yeah.
How did that come about? Had you seen any of the ones before that?
I had seen the first one, and I knew, obviously, that there were two more, but I hadn't seen them at that point. I auditioned for it, and I was late to it because I was babysitting, and I was 30 minutes late, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And got a call back, and then did the callback with the producers and director, and... booked it, and it was my first sort of like big movie, so I was so excited.
Well, you kind of mentioned that you're like, oh, people want to see these people die, and I was thinking, I was like, actually, we kind of like don't want to see them die. Like the whole thing was that like death was chasing them, but then I was like, maybe by the fourth one we want to see them die.
Maybe that was too presumptuous of me. I
apologize. Well, John, one of our members, he asked specifically about the car wash scene, and I'm guessing that was your fate.
I loved it. So, besides the fact that I look like a velociraptor, like when my head is in the sunroof. I saw that footage and I was like, oh my god. Wow, my mouth is huge. It was great. It was 2 days that we filmed. It was terrifying because the car actually already smelled like mold. So when I got like put into it, it already smelled, and so it just invoked fear. I was like, I want to get out of here. Right. And then I broke the window of the driver's side because the director was a stuntman, so he's like, go crazy, and I was like, okay. And so he was like, do what you would do if you were trying to get out of this car, and I was like, all right. So I did, and then I just like. And then the window just crashed, and I was like, I hope they have insurance. Right. Immediately from the end of the scene, I was like, oh shit. But they had another car, so they wheeled that one in, and I got a cut. I still have the scar actually on my arm from it. But I loved that scene, and the director was like, "We're gonna get like an MTV award for this of like best action scene," and I was like, "Cool!" And then it never happened, and I was like, "What is Hollywood? The place where dreams go to die." Right. But I loved that scene, and I think I get actually, I think it was Dylan who was like, "Oh my God, you're in Final Destination. You're the chick from the car wash." And I was like, "Oh my God." People actually see the things that I do. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So it was cool. But yeah, my favorite scene. I loved it.
That's awesome. And you're in Sugar Mountain.
Indeed.
That is awesome. What was that experience like?
Again, like also one of my favorite ones. It's hard when you're an actor. I mean, obviously, like I do my own stuff, and it's hard to be so out of power. You don't have the power to like create the rest of the film. But it was one of the more artistically satisfying, awesome experiences of my life. And yes, I will say on record that Jason Momoa is one of the sweetest. I sound like I'm bullshitting. I'm really not with all of these. Like, he is one of the most like artistic, sensitive. Like, he was like, I'm just an emo barista in this big ass body, and I'm like, yeah, man, you are.
I feel like if you're married to
so
Lisa
sensitive,
Bonet,
and
you have to
he's
be.
such a good dad. And
yeah,
he was so giving and so just took like really good care of us. I had to do a lot of physical shit toward the end too, and I think that was sort of like hard on his back. But yeah, it was a great experience, and he's lovely. And like at the time, we had no idea he was going to be Aquaman. But it's like, you know, you're going to do something. Like, Hollywood's not just going to throw this
Sugar
away.
Mountain.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa.
We danced to Drunken Love by Beyonce at a bar. It was great.
Nice.
I had a great time.
That was actually what I was going to kind of segue into is you
Beyonce.
Well, and to you do a lot of your own producing and acting and directing and these projects. You did one about Patti Smith that you know, actually starred and directed in, and, you know, The Sopranos opener and Joy Noel, and just, you know, these little projects. Is that something that you want to do more of as you move forward, and what's kind of the joy that you get from doing that, having that kind of creative control?
So I think it is the kind of creative control, like I know I've kind of mentioned a little bit tonight, the difficulty. I actually, on one of the movies I did, I realize now it was kind of shitty, but I thought I was trying to make things better, where I was like, oh, to the director, I was like, are you going to leave this like this? It was like a table, the way, I was like, are you going to have it, is this going to, okay, yeah. No, that's fine. And he was like, oh my God. So then he called me Director Webb, and it kind of stuck. But I think it is that thing of how I approach my work. I see an overall picture of how I fit into it. And I love film so much. And I love being able to create it and go beyond what I see for myself as an actor. So I am actively pursuing directing as another pathway. Professionally, and doing my own stuff, which I guess can go sort of like hand in hand. So yeah, it is the sort of creative control aspect of it, where I just love telling stories. That sounds so douchey. Like, I love telling stories. I love figuring out different ways to tell stories. I love the medium of it. So I just, like, I've been doing this for like 18 years, and like, if I haven't left yet, I'm never gonna fucking leave. So yeah, it's so fulfilling, and Joya Noel was really fulfilling to do. Patty was so fulfilling to do. It was like my first one. But I would always make short films with my siblings when I was like 10.
Okay, so quick flash round. We had some fun questions for you, Haley.
Okay.
Vodka or wine?
Wine.
Okay. Red or white?
Red.
Ooh, sweet.
But I kind of do both. Sorry. I'm a little...
Well, what's your favorite wine?
Cabernet.
Oh, okay. All right.
But white is Chardonnay.
Ooh.
A buttery Chardonnay.
I have a cupcake. So I'm a cheapo, but there is this brand of wine called Cupcake, and they
I know it.
Yes, they do a butter-kissed Chardonnay, and it is
delicious.
Right?
And she just takes the bottle.
That right? That butter-kissed Chardonnay. It's so good. I had that with really my pork choops, and it was
with your pork choops. She's got pork too. What do you get the girl who has everything? Pork too.
Right. Would you rather play the good guy or the bad guy?
Bad guy.
All right. What is a current project that you would love, like if you just could run up on set and just be in it, what would it be?
So it's Game of Thrones, obviously, which is ending, sadly. Mm-hmm. But I also really loved The Americans, which has also ended, but those would be my two, yeah.
If you're Game of Thrones, what kind of character would you be?
Arya. I would just be Arya Stark.
You would just be Arya.
The type. I would just be Arya Stark.
I'm here for it. And I was going to say character you'd love to play. You'll be Arya.
It would be Arya. I look at her, I'm like, I know you. You are me.
Guilty pleasure show.
It's hard. I don't want to sound like a total asshole, but I just do not really watch reality TV besides RuPaul. I just find it to be shitty. I mean, and I think it's bad for our culture. So I don't like to participate in it that way. But is this guilty pleasure in anything?
Yeah, yeah. I would say I don't care
sorry.
Anything.
Guilty pleasure in anything. This is so lame. My Virginia roots really come out sometimes, and I really like macaroni salad, which is not always great, but I love it.
You don't know what macaroni salad is?
No.
It's terrible.
Wait, it's a show?
It's I'm pretty sure, if we're talking about the same thing, it's you use Miracle Whip as a base.
Wait. Are we talking about the food or a show?
Yeah, food.
Food.
Oh my god, but now I'm making a show called Macaroni Salad.
It's a guilty pleasure show. What's a show that... we want some reality TV.
She asked if it could be anything. Put it together,
I thought you meant any show.
Okay, favorite show is guilty pleasure.
But I actually, I know what macaroni salad is. And no, I do judge you for that.
Just so you know, she knows.
I am going to walk away from this knowing one thing. That Stacey knows it's macaroni.
Is that your staple for barbecues? Do you bring the macaroni salad?
Oh yeah, totally.
There we go.
It's not great.
Okay, what's your guilty pleasure show that is not reality TV?
It's not reality TV.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't think cartoons are really a guilty pleasure, but I love cartoons. Adventure Time. I don't think that's guilty because it's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. That show, I put it on almost every night to fall asleep to. It soothes my soul.
So, my guilty pleasure, I'll give you an example. My guilty pleasure show, and I put this in the doc too, is Outlander.
Right.
So Outlander makes me doubt Ron Moore's genius. And I loved Battlestar Galactica. And so it's to the point where I'm like, Ron Moore has a beach house that he's trying to pay off. And that's how we got Outlander, but I can't stop watching it. Because I love it so much. But I also hate it.
Hate it.
What's the show where I can't... Oh, do you ever watch The Romanovs on Amazon? Manifest. No. Do you watch Manifest?
No, I don't. I'm bad.
I don't believe in the concept of guilty pleasures. I think that you shouldn't feel guilty for the things that you like, and if you want to enjoy something that's bad and you know that it's bad, just embrace it.
I feel so terrible. I embrace it, but I feel terrible.
That's why I can't think of one. I'm just out here enjoying myself. Like
True Blood. That some people would consider that a guilty pleasure.
But also one man's
I enjoy how bad it is and how campy it is. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about Manifest.
I can't think of it. I can't think of one right now. I'm so sorry.
Well, you're fine.
Which makes me sound like a pretentious asshole, but
I
only read Shakespeare.
Yes.
You don't.
Just you. Hot Cheetos or sour cream and onion potato chips?
I love this question. Respect whoever asked this. Hot Cheetos.
Don't
eat them probably once a week. Yeah.
Don't encourage them. We're not encouraging.
But I also love sour cream and onion. Okay.
And do you agree that pineapple on a pizza is wonderful?
Yes.
Thank
I will tell
you.
The pizza I order every time is pineapple and jalapeno. Don't at me. My favorite pizza. Pineapple on pizza for days. Pineapple on pizza 2020.
Do you ever get it with cream cheese?
Do I have what?
Do you ever get it with cream cheese?
No.
It's good.
That sounds amazing.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yes.
Me either. This is the first I'm hearing about it.
Wikabe, because I have never.
It is yum.
How do you get them? How do you get a pizza place to put cream cheese on?
What?
They do dollars.
They just hang up on you?
No, it's like a thing.
They're like, this is a prank.
It's
like,
yum. It's a thing. I'm telling you.
Right.
Have them do cream cheese. It's delicious.
Oh my god. Okay. You might have to BYO cream cheese.
Just get you a blender out and a little bowl. You get it all up.
Cause like all the pizza places around me, so it's like hardcore split. It's either Italian or Greek, and the Greek ones, like there are a lot of Greek people that say like, no, we don't make Greek pizza. It doesn't exist.
Oh, wow.
But like it does. and so I have a feeling that either of those places are going to be a hard no.
But now you have like you have like a prank you can do whenever you get like drunk on Friday. Like,
I can just be like, hi Otto, do you have a cream cheese pizza? Oh my god.
See, y'all are missing out, I'm telling you.
No, I am into this.
Thank you.
Speaking of which, have you guys tried the mayo trick? In the meantime.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we've been meaning to.
I was surprised that so many people didn't know about this.
Why?
Really?
Is this a thing that
Okay,
people
so
know
when you're
about?
making a grilled cheese...
Wait, we have to tell Haley what this is. So
okay, go ahead. Grilled cheese is something that has taken on its own life from Dylan O'Brien.
Okay.
Because in Weird City,
Wait, no,
say,
don't tell her. No spoilers.
Okay.
She's gonna watch.
No spoilers. Sorry, I figured that you'd watch it. Okay, my apologies.
No,
it's okay. But grilled cheese is a very important term that happens in the first episode of Weird City. And so I had like a thing that I had learned about grilled cheese from my roommate. So instead of using butter, you use mayo for the outside. So when you grill, yeah. And so it's always even. It has a more savory flavor, and it cooks perfectly. Yeah. Super crispy. Yeah, it's great. Well, oh yeah.
Oh damn.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I learned it like years ago, and all the time. It goes crazy.
People have to be exposed to things,
right?
Yeah.
We're gonna try
it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try the mayo. Y'all are gonna try cream cheese on the pizza.
Yes.
And we're all gonna have a wonderful time.
Exactly. We're all just like, what has happened to my gastrointestinal system?
And we're gonna go use fancy bathrooms. We're gonna go
I
use fancy bathrooms afterwards, and we're gonna make a coffee table.
Like, please send help.
Exactly.
# mayo cream cheese.
Haley Webb.
It's a rough time.
It's gonna be real
right.
rough.
Oh,
you guys won't hear from me for a while.
Oh, right. Exactly. Just be texting.
What's Haley been up to? Well,
Yeah.
about mayonnaise.
What had happened was.
What happened was.
Haley Webb, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Agreed.
So much.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My pleasure entirely.
Yes, we loved having you. Yeah, words cannot express.
Likewise. Thank you so much for reaching out, seriously, and thank you for this. This was so refreshing and awesome, and it was lovely to meet you all, and let's fucking hang out on Instagram.
Oh, definitely. Well, we occasionally do live episodes where we will watch the show and just kind of go through it and gab and and be a general hot mess. And so if you ever feel the occasion to come up for one of those, we would love to have you back. That would be an absolute dream. With that, we are going to do our goodbyes. Okay. Say goodnight, Amanda. Did she walk away?
Oh, she ran away.
Sorry, I said that right when she walked away.
I was trying to get out of the room, so he was scratching at the door.
So sorry.
Good night. It was so nice to meet you. Thanks.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Say good night, Ethan.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much, Haley. It was really awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, for real. This was fucking great.
Say goodnight, Philip.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Haley, for coming on. And everybody else, go to HaleyWebb.com and check out Joey Noelle. You can see it under the videos tab.
Yay! Thanks for the shout out.
That plug.
I know, right? And Haley, do you have any plugs? What's coming up? What's next for you?
I have one film that will be coming out. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think in the summer that I shot last year that I will post about in the future. But otherwise, I'm working on a lot of my own stuff right now, and so we'll be posting about that as well.
Awesome. And we will be reposting and reblogging and doing it all up. So we're very excited for your future endeavors and to see what's next. And on that note, say good night.
Good night. Good night, Moon. Good night, Brush.
Exactly.
Good night, bowl full of mush.
Good night.
See, you absorb shit. What did I
say? That is amazing. Tell the kitty we said good night.
Yeah, I will. She says good night. She's already asleep.
Oh my!
Oh, she loves you guys.
She's adorbs.
She's not as entertained by us.
No, she was like, whatever.
She's like, it's just background.
She made her cameo and she's good. Yeah.